Hi everybody, welcome to another mini lecture. Today I want to talk about the 12-step programs. It's kind of interesting that our book only has like two paragraphs on 12-step programs, at least the best I can tell. And that's really strange because probably more people have gotten into recovery from the 12-step programs more than anything else. Yet it's not considered scientific. And I had you watch a couple of YouTube videos as part of the assignment, and one comes from the Penn and Teller show and talks about how AA doesn't have any data or any statistics on their success rate. Well, that's true. AA isn't trying to be a scientific program. They also, one of the main principles of AA is that it's a program of attraction, not recruitment. So they're not looking to add new people. They're just trying to help, as they say, the alcoholic that still suffers. So when people criticize AA for not being scientific, it's kind of silly in a way, okay? Because it's not meant to be a treatment program. You've probably heard of the 12 steps. But there's also something called the 12 traditions. And the 12 traditions teach us a lot about how the 12-step programs are set up. I won't go over all of them, but one of the hallmarks, as you might guess, is that AA is an anonymous program. Why is that such a big deal? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that in the 1930s, when AA was founded, being an alcoholic wasn't a cool thing. It was seen as something that was to be condemned. People who were alcoholic were sloppy, lazy, bum-type people. That was the conception. It wasn't seen as a disease then. So you didn't want to flaunt your name as being an alcoholic. Another, maybe more subtle reason for anonymity, I said that right, I didn't even have to edit it, anonymity is that it has to do with pride and ego, is that in AA, no one is considered any better than anyone else. So if you're a person who has 20 years of recovery without a drink, you don't have any more rank than somebody who just walked in off the street. Okay? And that's an important part of the philosophy behind AA. One of the other things that, in terms of the traditions, when we look at anonymity, is people who are members of the 12-step programs are supposed to stay anonymous. Okay? So when a celebrity talks about AA and being a member, that's really not consistent with the traditions. Now, some people say, well, you can out your own anonymity, but it's really not consistent with the emphasis behind the traditions. Well, what else is important about AA? How does it work? Why does it work? Well, it doesn't work for everyone. But some of the fundamentals is that it puts you around positive role models. So AA and NA and all the other different self-help groups give you a one-stop shop where you can find people who are succeeding at what you're trying to get better at. That would be a good thing no matter what behavioral goal you had. If you got around people who were successful, that would be a positive thing. It also has some very simple, easy to grasp concepts. Some of those are the slogans that we hear so much about in AA. One thing, when someone's trying to change a habit or behavior, you want to keep things simple. And that's actually one of AA's favorite slogans, keep it simple. Another one is one day at a time. Another one is principles above personalities. And those types of simple, almost, well, in some ways, almost childish type expressions are easy to grasp and easy to remember. Someone who's trying to quit doesn't need to know about dopamine at the synaptic gap and how serotonin uptake reuptake inhibitors are important. None of that would really matter to somebody who's hungover, but hey, try to do this one day at a time and keep it simple. Might connect with someone. So AA and NA have some beautiful principles that are built right into it. Sometimes people will criticize the 12-step program and say, well, you have to say you're an alcoholic, and you have to go to 90 meetings in 90 days, and you have to get a sponsor, and you have to. One of the main tenets of AA is the only criteria for membership is a desire to stop drinking. That's all you have to do to be a member of AA. Now, principles above personalities. Do people in the meetings act inconsistent with some of the fundamentals? Of course they do. Just like people at the Knights of Columbus don't follow the Knights of Columbus mission, or people in the U.S. Army don't always follow things the way they should. So what about the criticisms of the 12-step programs? Are they valid? Yeah, I think they are in some ways. First of all, if you don't believe in God, you might struggle with it. Now, some people say there's no definition of God in AA. It's as you understand the person, as you understand God, a higher power as you understand Him. Well, in AA meetings, they often use the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father, which is a Christian-based prayer. Meetings usually end with the Serenity Prayer, which has great advice, but it also talks about God, and it's also a prayer from a Catholic saint. Okay, so if you were a Muslim or a Jew, you might think, geez, this isn't for me. Or if you're an atheist. And people who are atheistic sometimes are very, very strong in their belief or non-belief. So that can be a problem. Some studies have shown that people who do best at 12-step programs are people who are naturally joiners, who are a little bit more extroverted than introverted. Sometimes the 12-step programs skew male. Very often they skew heterosexual. Now there are separate groups for all types of people. There are gay groups and there are women's groups and there's anything you can imagine. But if you went to your average meeting, you might see more men than women and more straight people than LGBTQ people. So that's something to consider. But AA, the other thing sometimes people say is, well, people get addicted to AA and people withdraw from life and only hang out with other AA people. Some people do that. Lots of people don't. And if you had a really advanced addiction and your answer to it was to hang out only with sober people, that might not be the worst thing in the world. So there's a lot of things to think about and consider, both pro and con, when it comes to the 12-step programs. Think about it, and in our discussion board, let's hear your opinion. Thanks.